So just to say thank you, Richard, for asking me to host for you. Um, I've come up with some quotes. So we'll start with one by Salvador Dali. He who wants to interest others must provoke them.
Wow.
And then another by Yuval Noah Harari. Consistency is the playground of dull minds. And then one more by Tozaki Shang. I'm a firm believer that language and how we use language determines how we act, and how we act then determines our lives and other people's lives.
We could put that on a billboard somewhere.
I know. Wait, in Washington, D.C.
Mm.
I don't
So,
think they know how to read.
we're going to start with our first Richard is Richard Waring. His second poetry collection, Small Beauties, was published by Kelsey Books in 2026. His first book of poetry, What Love Tells Me, came out in 2016 by Word Poetry. His poems have appeared in Ars Medica, Collateral, Comstock Review, Chest, Sanctuary, Contact 2, the American Journal of Nursing, Mothering, the Journal of American Medical Association, and elsewhere. He has been anthologized in the Rocket Poetry Parenting Guide, Rough Places Plain, Poems of the Mountains, What the Poem Knows, and the Unitarian Universalist Poets, a Contemporary American Survey. He normally hosts this monthly poetry reading, the PoemWorks series. For many years, he was a senior layout artist for the New England Journal of Medicine. Let's hear it for Richard Waring.
Thank you very much, Pam. Well, I'm going to be reading from my second book. This is what it looks like. And at some point this evening, I'll put a little promo in the chat so you can order it directly from me if you want, because as we know, Amazon doesn't give royalties. So the best way for poets is to directly sell at readings or through the mail. So I'm going to start by telling you what my guiding thought was in putting together this book, Small Beauties. And I quote Sharon Olds. Sharon Olds said, "I am paying attention to small beauties, whatever I have, as if it were our duty to find things to love, to bind ourselves to this world." And I'll start, since it's been rather hot lately, with a poem called Snow. I love the manifold flakes up to my hips in the secret marriage of liquid and solid, the disorderly orders of glory casting a nightly robe over the yard, whiter than the notion of white. Sometimes my heart gets cold, so I bring it inside to sigh by the fire, to melt. Everything is an experiment in drifting, a left-handed squall, purpose forgotten in the royal raiment. Remembrance is a childhood snow day, when time itself seems to fall from the sky, gifting freedom from all institutions. I want to lie down in winter's happiness with itself, seek out my favorite hour when no one can find me.
Mm.
This one is called Myth. Through a mirror's borrowed light, look into the twin dream of your eyes. Use the optic nerves to stare back down the smooth bars of your ribs to that reliquary of a heart, the one that keeps asking its ventricles to be the beginning of wings. Beat your chest a bit and breathe your lungs' nest, buried deep in the sensual swell. Trace new technologies and scars across your torso. Kidneys once in tandem, leading separate lives inside the blood brothers. No more forsaken than eagles or an earlier version of sky. Raise the pillar of your spine, the centerpiece of an unknown temple to which you pilgrimaged.
Hmm.
And this poem was in last year's National Baseball Poetry Festival. It's called Madison, New Jersey, 1957.
Hmm.
24 Nagasaki schoolgirls, flayed by the blinding blast, come to New York for plastic surgery that will give them all new faces. It is the year flip-flops designed for Americans are made by the Hiroshima Rubber Company. A nanny named Toko sings lullabies and makes paper cranes for my brother and me. Hula hoops are a craze in both our countries, and a souvenir shop in Nagasaki is doing well on the very spot where atomic energy changed everything. Japanese men are back on Iwo Jima, not as soldiers this time, but as salvagers of tanks. Baseball is all the rage as the American All-Stars go up against the Yomiuri Giants. We all cheer the slap snap of the bats, how they inspire miracles, bases loaded, the grand slam, bringing everyone home.
Amazing.
And I don't know about you, but when I was a child, the fears were not polio and the measles. The main fears that we had were lava and quicksand.
Hmm.
My brother and I hold our breaths to keep from being killed by quicksand. We had just seen Tarzan on TV. We heard that the surface of the moon might swallow the astronauts whole, and all our hopes go with them. Our school told us Martin Luther King Jr. compared injustice to quicksand, and the Vietnam War was a quagmire. We go to our room to hang our heads from the twin beds just above the lava oozing from the floorboards, threatening to engulf us as we practice dying, sometimes touching the ground and going into convulsions, leaving the other brother alone and stricken, a world of unknown dangers awaiting us as we fight for our lives on our quiet New Jersey street on a snow day just before lunch. Frankenstein. While recovering from donating a kidney to my brother, I watched Frankenstein on TV, fascinated by a creature more scarred than me. Why am I here? He asks. What can I do? I wonder too how I am trying to breathe life back into my brother in his world of pain, how I don't want him to be pieced together from a cadaver, but rather flesh of my own flesh. How something the size of a fist makes marrow, the blood creating life from the catechism of grafts and stitches, a man rebirthing a man, my body conquering death.
Hmm.
Oh my God.
What comes after? Before he died, my big brother took the family slides that used to circle through the Kodak carousel and made them digital. He needed to resurrect them from their old garb and give them new life. While we muscled furniture into moving vans, he devoted what little strength he had after 46,000 shots of insulin over a lifetime and the low glucose episodes that wrecked a few cars and a marriage. The kidney I gave him 20 years ago, slowly deprived of oxygen due to the effect of cyclosporin on capillaries. Some of us wanted him to pay more attention to the present, its coffee mugs to pack, but he was always one step ahead, like now in his bedroom slippers, after posting a picture of our father lifting one of us in the air, or mother on a beach at Cape Cod, Us boys gazing at the shell she's holding before putting it to our ears to hear a memory of sea. Our bodies just beginning a history he brought back to us, like beach glass the ocean was finished with, a keepsake saved for us after the pounding and what comes after. And I owe it to Carol Hobbs, who also had this kind of unbelievable loss in her life, for saying to me one time, now that my brother's dates are finite. Elegy for my brother, after Carol Hobbs. I marvel at your death, the way we used to revel in Rosedale woods, reckoning with rock and root, trusting the brook to lead us through the known world, you always going in front like a magic trick. Between sky and the sturdy shoulders of the horizon, we salamandered our way to the mouth of the stream, possessed of nothing but the butterfly net we shared that mother made for us with a broom handle, coat hanger, and cheesecloth. We plucked bloodsuckers from our legs, kept looking up, intent on spotting the double-tailed swallowtail we never did find, extending our lives into the sovereign day, needing no consolation, stone, tree, bird, angel, in light of what made us brothers.
Wow.
Another kind of death is when a marriage comes to an end. This is called divorcee. Flesh grown back over a workhorse's wound is called proud flesh. Marriage, after all, can be lonelier than solitude. Painful? Not at all, except the daily appointments with despair. The illusion that I am indispensable that leads to this posthumous life. Time will bring me spring. We were lovers before we knew what time was. Sorrow is a vitamin for growth. Overmorrow and overmorrow, I may once again touch with my own face the hands of love, stand outside myself like the Greek word for ecstasy, ecstasis. Meanwhile, I wear my tin halo everywhere, all the grasses and live oaks in my heart, wintering.
Mm.
Oh my goodness, Richard.
Salva mia, save me. After she said she didn't want him anymore, their dog came to where he wept, presenting herself for love, licked dry his cheeks. He thought then of Saint Roch, patron saint of bachelors, who cured Rome of the plague and was cast out for succumbing to it. Exiled to a woods, no water, no food, until the miracle of a fresh spring, a dog unbidden, showing up to bring what no human would, a biscuit. He saw in his dog's kind eyes the sort of world he thought he lost and was restored.
Wow.
Post-divorce ultrasound. He pushes the probe into its final awkward spot where the blood comes out of my heart when I say, "You're looking at the heart of a poet." "Is that right?" he asks, repositioning the wand. "Oh yeah, I see. To be or not to be?" As long as we're getting personal, I say, "It's not just a pump in there. It's been through a lot lately." He tilts his head, gives me a knowing look, says, "I can see that." Like he knows I'll come through just fine. Bumblebee. Heavy from bringing home the pollen, You don't always make it back in time. The way is closed and you've got to crawl into the next available bloom de noir. One of those crazy moonflowers that open all night, which explains in early morning all that bumbling around in search of Mrs. Bumble in some half-open flower, hoping not to be missed or else begrudgingly let in, your stirrups laced with exotic residues. At the nudist colony, a massive man plays bocce with a woman whose breasts are shaped like ice cream cones. I adjust to the new norm, the way a plow horse might wake to sudden freedom, even though I've followed my friend here on a dare. We set up camp, raise the tent, careful not to zip the fly over stray body parts. I join in tennis doubles, 40 love, scars rippling my chest, and the rest of me there too. It's only July with plenty of alfresco potlucks. The only worry, what to bring and where to put it. Meatballs and sausages go down well. At the outdoor shower, a woman sparks a conversation, stepping out, a towel around her head, to tell me, this is where I get away from it all. She also said, I tell my grandkids they can't join me here because there's too many bears everywhere. Becoming a poet. I am solitary, moon-driven, cultivating poems the way others grow gardens. Poems flow from my pen as if dictated. I am a song and a god. Sometimes I write poems on my shirt sleeves during walks, careful not to wash them until I've copied down what's written there. I blame Jesus for jamming the conversation between me and God, the telephone of Christ into which everyone forever calls, hello? Who's there? To no one. As a child, I didn't believe in mirrors when they told me I have edges, am not unlimited, able to mix with my surroundings. I am like the anemone that opened so wide it could not close again, had to receive everything the night had to offer.
Mm.
I'm very happy to say that the next issue of Appalachia, the Appalachian Mountain Club journal that comes out twice a year, will have one of my poems called Blue-Footed Booby. I kind of thought you had to write about the Adirondacks, but I took a chance and in fact, you could probably write about anything. But it took since 2009 to have the editor accept that poem. And I often would get long, long letters, longer than any words that I had submitted. And so this poem incorporates some of the responses that I've gotten from editors over the years. Rejections. 1, I am sorry to report your poem doesn't suit my need for a single time, place, or incident in the life of a moth. Always read my publication. It could make a difference. Here you have one place and incident, but it doesn't take us far into a realm dark as Houdini. I'm holding on to it for possible future inclusion, if you're open to some editing. 3, you should have seen me crying all over the steering wheel, but you didn't take my advice enough about the 3 instars. Perhaps you should think longer and write slower. It's not quite a fist. 4, I am perpetually, ridiculously behind in getting these things out. You focus firmly on the creature with phrases like wings weave thin air into moons and eye spots. But the last 3 lines don't give us enough insight into a moth's life. 5. Though I read your submission respectfully and with care, I'm currently booked for the next 10 years. Good luck. Sorry. Cheers anyway. Thanks for considering our magazine a home for your moth. And this is the title poem, Small Beauties. The pebble David picks from his shepherd's field to bring down Goliath. The adulterer's rock, the one not thrown. Boulder rolled from the tomb where the women come with spices and oil and are answered by those in clothes that gleam like lightning. My kidney, the staghorn stone of sharpest discomfort, weighing down Virginia Woolf's overcoat pockets as she walks into the river Ouse. Soup and the generosity that follows. When I lose my way, cairns. Childhood collection I can't put at the curb because no one would love them as much as I do.
Mm.
Silent companions known my whole life that will rest atop my grave.
Oh my goodness.
Just like Rilke, I'm ready for my castle nestled in a European mountainside, just like the ones given by wealthy widowed countesses to Rainer Maria Rilke. I'll leave my wife and children, if I have some, to cling to ancient marble dug from storied depths, flung to these starry heights. Rilke's angel will scare the bejesus out of me and turn my adrenaline by candlelight into an opus. I'm ready. Bring it on. My pencil is as sharp as a razor. A poet's license. A lazy dog jumps over the brown fox. I made him do it. When I want to kill 2 stones with 1 bird. I am there every time a tree falls in the forest. I make weeping willows laugh. I can teach the archaic torso of Apollo to walk. He has no legs. I say, go lightly. If someone steals my wallet, my license will talk. I keep death at bay all day. I'm donating my soul to science.
Mm.
Mm.
That was my penultimate poem. Questions my son asks, answers I never gave him. How did the first thing come to life? Before the sky was ever blue and the ocean waved, hope and fear conceived. Who are God's mother and father? As happy as stone was with stone, the mouth of time had nothing to kiss, no mossy breast to feed. What if a bee is allergic to its own pollen? Earth has a place where it lets the infinite go by. It lifts a milky hand to the sun. If your brain has electric current, who pays the bill? The body has circuits without breakers. Mind is its own country. If a boa and a baboon become friends, can they speak to each other? They are each other's secret keepers, the 2 halves that make a heart. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, Richard. Oh my goodness. Wow.
Bravo, bravo.
Rich, you want to read some of the comments. I'm donating my soul to science, the poet's job description. It's just so eloquent and beautiful. Exceeding our lives into the sovereign day. A beautiful thing to say about your brother. That was truly amazing.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you, everyone.
So for our next and final feature, Richard Hoffman is an award-winning poet, memoirist, and author of 11 books, including Half the House, Love and Fury, Without Paradise, Gold Star Road, winner of the Barrow Street Press Poetry Prize, and the Sheila Martin Award from the New England Poetry Club. Emblem, Noon Until Night, winner of the 2018 Massachusetts Book Award, People Once Real, and most recently, two major companion volumes, Each Child a Disappearance and El Mundus et Infants, selected suites, sequences, and series from Lily Poetry Review books, available from Lily Poetry Review or directly from www.richardhoffman.org. He is the emeritus writer in residence at Emerson College and the nonfiction editor of Solstice, a magazine of diverse voices. Richard?
Thank you, Pamela. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
That was an amazing reading, Richard.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
am so honored to read with you, and I'm so happy to have been here to listen to that.
Thank you so much.
Just remarkable. I'm going to begin with a poem by another poet, which is something my teachers always did and modeled for me, and I've always done it. This is by my dear friend Baron Wormser, who passed away not long ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Leaving.
Mm.
Not to be here anymore, not to hear the cat's fat purring, not to smell wood smoke, wet dog, cheap cologne, good cologne, not to see the sun and stars, oaks and asters, snow and rain. Every form I take mostly for granted makes me sad. But pleased to be writing down these words, pleased to have been one more who got the chance to participate, who raised his hand, although he didn't know the answer or understand the question. No matter. The leaving makes me sad. So much was offered, so freely and completely.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And so I do have these twin volumes coming out next month. They look like this. Where are they? And I'm going to read just two poems from the first, which is a collection of lyrics and elegies, etc., Each Child a Disappearance. And then I'm going to read a single sequence from Mundus et Infans. I'll read the title sequence of the book. So let's see. What I thought I'd start with is a poem called Vaccine.
Mm.
What is the word for the way the starling's sheen and the carapace of the Japanese beetle seem alike? And if I find it, will the dying stop? Words don't come easily to me. I used to think they were afraid of me. They hid in my chest, in my belly. Will the right ones make the dying stop? What word is there for the way some words unsaid erase you? For our hope not to hurt again? For what to say to make the dying stop?
Mm.
Now, this cover is, it's weird. Everything's backwards on Zoom. This cover is a Rembrandt painting called The Rape of Ganymede.
Mm.
And those of you who know my work at all know that at the center of it is my concern about the sexual exploitation of children. Funny thing, it seems to be in the news a lot lately. So what I'm going to do is read the poem that refers to that painting. And what you need to know to begin with is that it's a sort of documentary poem. There are two footnotes to it. One tells you that the painting is from 1635 and it's in the Gemälde Gallery in Dresden. And the other one is that all of the information in the poem comes from the U.S. Department of State Human Rights Report 1999, ECPAT International's A Step Forward 1999, and UNICEF's State of the World's Children 1997.
Mm.
An emblem from Dresden. In Rembrandt's The Rape of Ganymede, the boy, a chubby toddler torn from his play, kicks and wails and pisses in terror as, clamped in beak and talon, he looks down. The sky is smoke, a billowing smudge as after a city's bombardment. The eagle is unnatural, painted in the way myth borrows nature for its purposes, larger and more saurian, power from on high. But the boy, as Rembrandt understood, is real and not especially beautiful. A fat boy fed the diet of the poor, potatoes, turnips, bread, and for sweetness, the cherries in his fist. Ovid has Orpheus sing the story Hermes, the slippery consigliere, tells the parents. The boy will learn the language of the mighty, an acolyte loved and provided for, a story that comes with a payment of valuable horses, wealth enough to secure the future, more than even a grown son could expect to earn them.
Mm.
What does the boy see rising? Over Laos, 200,000 children trafficked into Thailand's brothels, building sites, and sweatshops. Over Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, Albania, procurers riding shotgun, helicopter cargo bound for prostitution in the streets of Athens. From Nigeria, bush pilots make the short flight over jungle to the secret auction. Clean, no HIV, no HIV, euros for their trouble from the French, the Belgians, dollars from Americans, the eagle on the money, each child a disappearance. Too young, says the madam, pulling back the beaded curtain for her client. No boom boom, this one, not yet, only yum yum.
Oh.
Um, yeah, so this is Mundus et Infans, which is a long sequence about the plight of children in the world, particularly in this militarized world. It begins with an epigraph from Blake. The angel that presided o'er my birth said, little creature, formed of joy and mirth, go, love without the help of anything on earth. 1. After the war. Waves went on rolling across leagues of water. Clouds hit high-pressure zones and piled up into new beauties. A woman who lived alone cracked an egg on the rim of a pan. A zygote, many zygotes, became attached precariously to nourishing uterine walls. A petulant dictator on the rise professed his admiration for a spurious book deemed holy to those he planned to kill. In regions newly designated countries by people in countries elsewhere, resentments seethed. A dozen academic papers sifted evidence for calling a set of symptoms a new disease. In the meantime, and long before I knew myself at all, my life had begun among ghosts who begged to be mourned or demanded answers, especially the ones who didn't know they had been murdered. Wrong name, faith, country. I lay there, a little red fist, and wailed, but no one saw that they surrounded me, asking for pity or vengeance, or begging forgiveness for crimes against me, maledictions like unexploded ordnance in the neighborhood. People once real, who'd loved their lives and one another, who might not have meant to harm me, but only warn me. In what first tongue did I compose those poems that calmed them, that bid them be silent so I could sleep? I need that language now. They have returned. They circle, insistent, whispering. Same war, same war, same war.
Mm.
2. Art a great investment, says Forbes. For sale at auction, wooden Santos from Mexico, hand-painted in colorful uniforms, rough-hewn, nearly identical figurines, swords drawn, holding children's bloody heads, arms, legs, arranged in the Sotheby's brochure around a screaming mother. The Massacre of the Innocents, artist unknown. A recurrent theme in Western art. Rubens, Bruegel, Poisson, Ghirlandaio. Amid the charred ribs of a school bus in Yemen, a fragment of fuselage, commercial and government entity code, CAGE, like a return address, Lockheed Martin, General Dynamics, Burlington, Massachusetts, Falls Church, Virginia. Engineering a better tomorrow. And in the bramble, a ram entangled. Oh, angel of outrage, where are you? For arms, say aerospace. For surveillance, information systems. For bombers, say defense. For taxes, say earnings. Say second quarter, on track. Say 62 billion US dollars. A voice was heard in Ramah, Rachel weeping for her children. A Saudi apologist claimed the Yemeni school was teaching insurrection. King Herod's fear, precisely Herod's fear. In Bruegel's version, blood on the village snow. In Ghirlandaio's, blood on the plaza's stones. Imperial architecture in the background. In Poussin's, a sandaled soldier, his foot on a baby's neck, dispassionately sights down the blade. In the Rubens, it is hard to separate the mothers from their babies. The scene is one great mass of writhing flesh. At the border, the official explained, it is hard to separate the mothers from Mexico, from their babies. Confía en mí, por favor, señora. Déjame llevarla y traerle algo de comer. They are enclosures, the official said. We're uncomfortable with the term cage. They're temporary structures made of chain link. A voice was heard in Ramah, Rachel weeping for her children. To comfort them, to warm them, to console them, they have each been given a blanket made of foil. At auction, the Rubens sold for $75 million. And in the bramble, a ram entangled. Oh, angel of outrage, where are you? Rubens, Bruegel, Poisson, Ghirlandaio, Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, General Dynamics, Northrop Grumman, General Electric. Herod, Netanyahu, Trump, Mohammed bin Salman. Historians are skeptical the massacre took place. Flavius Josephus does not mention it. The Orthodox Church, however, has for millennia held that Herod, as punishment, was eaten alive by worms. 3. Sentinel. I show him, now 3, his birth photo, asleep, fist under his chin. No, he says, not me, not. 4, hold that pose. In old-time billowing shirt sleeves, baggy woolen pants, and ankle-high black cap toes, grandfather-like, Edison, a picture of Edison, as if he has just heard news from the prophets obviating hope of happiness, yes, of any ever again. But no, his frown, his anger, his clean-shaven cathode stare is for his adversaries. Who owns the light? A button, a toggle, a dimmer, control and guidance systems, a satellite, its solar panels, wings, a painting, hyperrealist, above Earth's marbled blue curve, figures a lovely emptiness of grace. Artist's rendering in fine print, bottom right. Better, much better than a charred orb, sulfured yellow as a smoker's fingers.
Hmm.
5, Mundus et Infans. From what region in the imagination of celibate churchmen do they come, these cherubs? Wrists and ankles creased, they are so plump, and much too heavy for their tiny wings. Ideas, not children, that have never matured. Impossible, equating helplessness with innocence, wordless amnesia with paradise. So I call bullshit on Paul. When I was a child, I spake as a child in pain and asked my questions clearly, in a sweeter voice perhaps, but not less serious than now, when clarity remains at least as hard and honesty much harder. I still play dead to keep in practice, since you never know.
Hmm.
This section has a footnote about Patrick McSorley. He was among the earliest and most powerful voices to speak out against the widespread sexual abuse of children by Catholic priests. He had been assaulted as a 12-year-old boy by the Reverend John J. Gagan, a notorious abuser with hundreds of victims. After a long struggle with addiction, likely a consequence of childhood sexual abuse, he died at age 29. 6, tribute. This man once, he went down. This time none, not one man, not one pill, not one hope could stop him. Not one cry. Not one hand could reach him. Not one lie could save him. He went down. This man lived where men fear what they know, and knew what he knew and spoke the truth. Not one bond could turn him. Not one friend could soothe him. He went down. We mourn him. 7, progress. Iphigenia, Isaac, kids, bugs on the windshield ever since. Story, explanation, lowdown, narrative, narration, citation, recital, report, take, version, rundown, score, apologue, allegory, metaphor, myth, parable, fable, discourse, propaganda, treatise, testament, epic, justification, rationale, excuse. We're sorry. Something went wrong. Please try your query again. Fish gotta swim, birds gotta fly, boats gotta sail. Fish, birds, boats, kids, swim, fly, sail, die. at the direction of frowning, serious, disciplined men who grew up with me in America, on their bikes, on roller skates, under the horse chestnut trees, trading baseball cards they bought with money from their paper routes. The nightmare true now, nightmare of my Cold War boyhood, true to children elsewhere. And in the bramble a ram entangled. Oh, angel of outrage, where are you? Because everybody needs a job. We are one great mass of writhing flesh. Because fear begets profits, and profits more nifty gadgets. First best gizmo off the line is always an idea, an assumption, a mysterious, immaterial twin to every sleek weapon thereafter, a prayer to consecrate the idol. Years of this, generations. Hey, I'm just trying to make a buck. Oh, shake us, make our hearts hammer shame in the face. Now blood drips from public monuments like icicles in spring. We no longer know how to know what we know. Error 404, not found. 8. In the meantime, between the launch and the blast, we drank to our prosperity. The boys are off to prison or to war. The girls carve crosses in their thighs. Sirens, blue lights, shots fired. Even enough is not enough. The server's down. The safety's off. History's a hoarder's burning house. 9. Isaac's dream. Who's there? Who's there? It's dark. I'm afraid I can't see. No one, only an old nightmare. Now I'm falling into nowhere while a body looms above me. Who is it? Who's there? Who's pulling my hair and muttering so angrily? No one, only an old nightmare. A hand on my throat. Air! I garble a choked plea. Who's there? Who's there? I hear moaning somewhere, cry out, and wake abruptly. No one, only an old nightmare. Slowly, I see the dream was in fact a memory, and I know who was there. My father, my old nightmare. 10. A dainty dish. Sing a song of violence, its pocket full of lies. 24 children sent sailing off to die. When the boat was sinking, the sharks began to sing. Can we even let ourselves imagine their suffering? The keeper of the lighthouse was counting out his money. Politicians took to TV, said the usual baloney. The maid was in the garden, enraged by what she knows. Along came justice, smirking and thumbing its nose. 11. Enfant soldat. And this is was written down quickly when I got back in the house after listening to an NPR report about child soldiers in Central Africa. Enfant soldat. I used to be always shaking. Some boys cried, but I was a shaking one. The day of the trucks, I wanted to run, but I was shaking and shaking. If I run, 2 boys who did was in the middle of the circle. Never can I ever not be thinking of this now. On the ground, boots on their backs, they are scared on their faces. And the boy who is beside me They give him the gun. He was little, one of those crying kind. Shoot them boys on the ground dead. Shoot him and him dead, they say, him and him. The crying boy, he could not do it. Never can I ever not be thinking of this now. So the man, he was who drove the truck. Take back the gun. I shoot him in his face. Then he is right away dead. Quiet. All around the circle, then the man is walking, looking in our faces, and I cannot stop shaking. When he make another boy the one, make him to hold the gun. That boy step to the boys on the ground and shoot their heads. We all climb in the trucks then, and that is how they took us to Mashasi camp for training. 12. Seer. In Euripides' Dur version, Artemis, to whom men pray for permission to kill wild creatures of her forests, spirits Iphigenia away to Taurus, where she makes prophecy of the single thing she knows, denied by all who seek her. Children will be sacrificed for victory, for advantage. What she knows is always so. It's almost too easy. Almost. Hardest are the armored men who clatter up her stairs. She knows the harm they will do, and that no words will stop them. And the series and this reading end with this coda. Uvalde, Texas, 5/24/2022. Another. No, not another, not that cushion of a word. Yesterday, with my granddaughter, 3, we lay on our bellies on the warm pavement, watching ants. Look, that one's carrying something. That his dead brother. He bringing him home. Thank you.
Good God.
Thank you so
Wow.
much.
Wow.
Wow.
Not a good time for kids. We have kids of the future. All of that stuff is true, cliched as it is. They're the future. We need to, yeah.
So moving, Richard, and such important work. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you, Richard.
Well, we've got several readers, and I want to get to them in a moment. I just want to mention that next month, September 4th, we'll have Eric Hyatt and Alexis Ivy. We will also have next year, February 5th, Brittany Perham and Kim Adenazia. In March, Jennifer Markle, and in June, Fran Lunny. So 2027 is shaping up nicely. Meanwhile, if they're still here, I would like to do the open mic in reverse order so that we can have Vijaya, Sundaram.
Vijaya Sundaram.
Yeah, are you still there?
I'm here. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Let me look for you.
I'm here. Let me just hang on just a second. Can you hear me? Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I was wearing my ear things, and so I guess it doesn't.
There
Yeah.
you go. There you are.
It's Vijaya Sundaram, and thank you for having me read. But thank you both first for your beautiful, beautiful poetry, your wrenching words.
Mm.
It takes a lot to write about the things you wrote. In your case, Richard, Waring, about personal loss, and in your case, Richard, about the world and your own losses. And it's very hard to look at those things straight in the eye without flinching. And it was just devastating. So thank you. After that, I don't know what I can read. So I guess I'll read a sad poem too.
Mm.
This one was written, let's see, when did I write this? I wrote it a few years ago. My response to the death of footballer Zaki Anwari, 19, who had played for Afghanistan's national youth team. He had been clinging to the wings of a plane as it took off when US troops were leaving Kabul, and he fell to his death. So it was about him and for him.
Mm.
And the title is In the Present Tense, the Past and Future Collide. I always wanted to fly, he might have said, this new Icarus, driven by fear of what lay behind, so that even the impossibility of mounting a plane straddling the sky that lay open to the elements seemed possible, preferable to what lay behind, on the ground, far, far down. Down there was death, death in life, life in death, different from the death that caught him as he fell. If I fall, at least I tried, at least I left all that behind, he might have whispered as he fell, in that instant that eternity into which time fell like a stone. The wind around him roared, plane slicing through sky, slicing through his past, severing his future, leaving naught but a thin gulf of the present, into which he falls and fell and keeps on falling, looping over and over. Governments fall and fail. People die. He fell. It was his time, said someone. He fell, still falls in the present. He'll never stop falling. Those who saw him drop are now the past. They remain forever, trapped in amber, eyes wide, breath caught. As they watched, horror and grief and rage knocking against their ribs, frantic birds of sorrow awaiting release, swooping into the sky to meet him. It was always hopeless. There was no clean way out. Time enough to feel it all later. For now, it's a man falling forever, down, down, through an uncaring, embracing, empty sky. Its arms laden with a plane that cuts its light into bits, and a man alone up there, falling homewards like a stone. This was my way out, he might have said, while the world whirled upside down around him. I didn't expect to fly, he might have thought, manic laughter descending into a rising wail. His people watched as he fell. Maybe they caught their breath and gasped out loud. Perhaps the air they exhaled would cushion his impact.
Mm.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sometimes the hardest things to say are the things that are most appreciated as we dig into our own challenges. Unfortunately, we've lost Diana Cole, but let's go to Kathy Whitham.
Yeah, I'm feeling quite stunned by all of the reading. I'm awake.
Mm-hmm.
So tonight I'm going to read the title poem of my hopefully awaiting chapbook called Atomic Bedtime Stories in honor of the anniversary of Hiroshima.
Mm-hmm.
Atomic Bedtime Stories. Sitting at the foot of my bed, Dad taught me atoms, how everything is made of atoms. My blanket, air, and people too. A for alpha, B for beta, and scary gammas that go right through you. He told me the bedtime story about the girls in factories who painted watches with glow-in-the-dark numbers, their young full lips pointing tiny brushes so as not to waste the radium. Lying in bed, I imagined their skeletons glowing in a cave.
Mm.
Hmm.
Dad engineered electrons to precision at Los Alamos. The sound is what followed him. Decades later, his grandchildren listened, entranced by his eyewitness account of the first atomic bomb test blast, as his hands slowly mushroomed, the unholy roar shuddering from his core.
Hmm. Wow. Thank you, Kathy.
Wow.
Thank you.
Up next, please welcome Carol Hobbs.
Hi, everyone. Still kind of absorbing all that I heard. Amazing, amazing work from our Richard and Richard this evening and fellow poets. I'm going to read a poem called Ghost Story. I just spent some time next to this river where I grew up, and I've been thinking a lot about poems along the river. Ghost Story. When Cousin Austin drowned, he became a ghost story to warn us about the river, its mouth and tongue, its teeth that snatch and snarl the young. He could walk barefoot across the sandbars at low tide, swim the channel under watchful eyes of mothers, chase sticklebacks through the shallows, but always stay away from where the currents meet and eddy and pull small bodies under. 3 times he spun surfacing to gasp, then under again till he was no longer. 3 times, my mother said, always 3 before drowning, the number a ghost itself with power to claim a boy. Men ran from the mill at the children's cries and waded downstream to find Austin, limp and soaking, no breath, blue lips. He was a beautiful boy, my mother said, head full of curls. My aunt was never the same. My mother warned and warned us again to stay away from the eddy, the wild water spin that took Austin, whose birthday she marked with, he would have been.
Oh my goodness.
Hmm. Wow. Oh,
Wow.
Carol, so devastating. Brother loss. Hmm. Up next, please welcome Sharon Foley.
I'm just so moved by both Richard Waring's and Richard Hoffman's readings. I have to kind of relish them more. I'm trying to write a few poems about my kidney disease, and
Yep.
this is a poem about the home dialysis machine that I use. Ode to the Liberty Cycler dialysis machine. Months ago, you arrived with supplies that keep me humming. I reserve a special corner and place you on top of a hostess cart so I can sit before you every night. You serve me sucrose that dwells within my belly and then drains any toxins. I'm getting to know you, the tricks of the setup, when to push and turn, when to break the plastic cone, when to sit and wait. You teach me how. I both love and resent you, the time and space you take. You are my last goodbye before I sleep.
Mm.
Wow. Wow. Thank you, Sharon. And now, from out west, please welcome Rex Arrasmith.
You're muted.
He's working on it.
I'm unmuted now, sorry.
No problem.
Thanks, Richards. That was just devastating. I don't even want to read mine now. So this is called Wild Kingdom. The raven I have been trying to coax into friendship with offerings of nuts and blueberries is perched on my garden wall. We both seem to be looking in the same direction. We don't know what to think of this beautiful boy. The buck thinks my front garden is a salad bar. He seems unaware of a mountain lion skulking. It's camouflaged in the tall grass. The deer take small bites of my peach tree's leaves. The upwind mountain lion is huge, with glowing gold eyes. Should I shout a warning to the deer? Mostly, I don't want to watch what might happen in my front garden. I really don't want to watch a wild kingdom encounter. The anticipation is maddening. A couple of weeks ago, I ran into a baby bear munching oleander berries. It was sitting happily in the bush when I startled it, or it startled me. I thought it looked cuddly until it growled, hissing like an angry cat. I found out later that it had been orphaned after a nervous neighbor decided it was a good idea to shoot its mama.
Good Lord.
So the deer seems unaware. So the deer seems aware that danger may be lurking as its ears twitch in the direction of the lion. It knows not to bolt. I know it's none of my business, circle of life and all that. The raven and I remain riveted, me behind plate glass. The raven's head swivels left towards the deer, then right towards the lion. The raven glances my way conspiratoriously. Thank you.
Thank you, Rex. Up next, please welcome Margot Wizansky.
Well, this has been quite an evening. Thank you to the two Richards. Thank you. And also, I hardly feel qualified to read following what I just heard. But I wanted to read this one for Richard Waring because it's the second nudist colony of the evening. I grew up in Allentown. 1. The Najjar's record skipped, played the same bars of a Syrian tune over and over. Too timid to touch the player, I sat alone for an hour waiting for Mariam in the parlor. That was before I almost lived in her kitchen, playing cards at the huge formica table, watching her mother and aunts make labna and pita bread, crack fresh olives into brine. We were little bohemians in black, hosted evenings where Oliver read poetry to Eddie's jazz piano, and we thrilled when Allen Ginsberg came to read at Muhlenberg College. In Allentown, 2. In Cedar Creek Park, we could get lost in the willows along the creek. Our mischief pretty wholesome. Before we drank, before we knew about drugs, or knew anyone pregnant before her time. In Allentown, 3. Our main corner on Hamilton was anchored by Hess's, a huge department store rivaling New York, with lunchtime fashion shows in the patio restaurant, whipped cream 5 inches high on your strawberry pie. My mother, French room buyer, flew to Paris with Jerry, the fashion director, brought couture back to Allentown. The store was a palace, the first floor, a grand allée of crystal chandeliers. My mother sold dresses to the famous and to the owner of Sunny Rest Lodge for nudists. For the rare occasion, she needed to be clothed.
Oh,
Wow. Awesome.
Can I just say something here? Margot, that
Absolutely.
was incredible. And I grew up in Allentown. I know every spot, and I grew up there. And that reading at Muhlenberg was my very first poetry reading I ever went to.
We were both
So-
there.
So this was amazing. Really great.
Gregory Corso was there too.
And the Fugs.
Yeah. Yeah. And somebody once said to Allen Ginsberg, what did it mean when you stripped yourself naked? And what he did was he stripped himself naked to the person that asked the question. That was his answer.
That's a good response.
And now please welcome Steve Nickman.
This has been so memorable tonight. I don't have any words, so I won't try. This is called Contribution. We go back 30 years. Twice a month, I listen to her in the corner of a coffee shop. I no longer have an office, and my rent for this hour is the price of a latte. She has a liturgy. No Gloria, no Agnus Dei, no Credo. Her stages are, my father should have died on his bicycle. I can't throw away my mother's clothes. My boss is a stingy bastard. That woman's sweater must have cost $1,000. I have to give a check to the animal hospital. I should be making 6 figures. I want to die. The order varies, but the elements are constant. She notices a man through the plate glass window, tells me, that man lives in the woods near the pond. I glance, tall, thin, with a small backpack. He enters and walks past us to the restroom. She moves on from her boss to her mother's clothes, but scarcely looking down, she takes her purse from her handbag and pulls out some bills. I'm puzzled. Time passes, and she's arrived at I want to die when the man emerges. He comes from behind her, but she knows. Without losing the thread, she slips the money into his hand. Barely audible, he thanks her and leaves. She has performed the offertory, the contribution.
Thank you, Steve. Wow. Connemara, did you want to read a poem?
No, I'll pass up.
All right. Well, that was our penultimate reader for the evening. Now our ultimate reader, Pam Gemme.
Thank you, Rich. This is a ghazal about Gaza. When the sun became a lion's mane, bombs hit that brown satin strip. Hope is bittersweet, like trees' roots open bit by bit. Graves expose, sweet history. Starve the bitterns and cranes in defeat. Stack them massacred, the poet's sweet. Puppet rulers drink the tension of bloodlust. Butterflies cry in each warrior's mortal ear. Sweet campaign for lice and liars, no retreat. All sons, daughters like figs so sweet. I thank my God, white wooden crosses notch my skyline. Be a bold-hearted believer, my sweet survival, I decry. A namby-pamby America who bombs other people's houses, far from sweet. Thank you.
Wow. What an evening. I tell
What an
you,
evening is right. Oh my goodness, what an evening.
it's like the BBC of poetry, a trip around the world, really, with our concerns, our hopes, our prayers. Good writing, everyone.
It's wonderful.
Any further comments that anyone would like to make?
I think it was so wonderful that the open mic really sort of paid homage to both
Right.
Richard readings. It was really just beautiful. So
It came together.
It did. It was wonderful.
In spite of the hard parts.
Yes.
Or maybe because of them.
Or maybe because of them.
I think there's something that Stanley Kunitz said, the heart keeps breaking, and lives by breaking.
Mm.
That's just the way it is.
Mm.
We who delve into the human condition can't help but have our hearts break and try to tell about it and try to improve as we go along everyone's lives. So thank you, everyone, and stay well, stay strong, and we'll see you next time.
Yes, indeed. And I'll come with my work in front of me.
Excellent, excellent. Good night,
Thank you,
all.
everyone.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you,
Thank
Pam.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.